Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to be servicing the rear differential on our 2018 Ford Raptor. Alright, so the first step in any differential service is to loosen the fill plug. You don't want to take off the back cover and then find that you cannot get the fill plug out. So I've already sprayed this down with some PV Blaster. We're going to use our 3/8 inch breaker bar and see if we can just go ahead and break this loose. There we go, perfect. Next step is to remove the bolt holding this brake line bracket in place so that we can lift the bracket over the stud on the differential cover. So I'm going to use a 10mm socket and remove this bolt. Okay, so now that the bolt is loose, I should be able to lift this bracket up and pull it forward. There we go. And now it's clear of the differential cover stud. Next, we're going to remove all of the bolts holding the differential cover on. For this, I'm using a 1/2 inch socket. Alright, well, I didn't actually expect the cover to come loose there, guys. I thought this would be held on with RTV from the factory, but it looks like as you loosen the last bolt, you should keep a hold of the cover. Luckily, I did have my drain pan underneath. Like so. It looks like the Raptor actually uses a metal gasket with rubber on it from the factory, so that's really nice. Usually these are just held on with RTV, so this is going to be a much easier cleanup process. So at this point, we've let the differential drain. I also wiped out the bottom of the housing with a rag, and now it's time to clean up this sealing surface. So before I do that, I'm just going to take an old rag, cover up the gears and everything inside here as best I can. Then I'm going to take just a scrubbing pad to start with. Might switch to some steel wool or some really fine sandpaper and see if we can clean all of this corrosion off of the sealing surface. We have the mating surface on the differential housing and on the cover all cleaned up, and we're going to put it back together using a LubeLocker differential cover gasket. We've had pretty good luck with these gaskets in the past on the channel. So basically this goes on, no RTV. We just put the cover back on and we're going to torque all of the bolts. Okay, so we've got all of the bolts snugged up. At this point, I'm going to torque them to 33 foot-pounds, and I'm going to follow the sequence shown on the LubeLocker package, and we'll show that on the screen as well. Okay, with the differential cover back on, we can reinstall our brake hose bracket. So this goes over the stud, and then we have a bolt right here on the top of the housing. There we go. Okay, last step is to fill the rear differential. So the Raptor calls for a 75 W85 synthetic hypoid gear lube. It should take around 3 quarts. We're going to use one of these little pumps. Just pump it into the fill hole until it runs out. So as I'm filling this, I also want to mention that the Raptor does not require any friction modifier in the rear differential. Oh, there we go. So we're right at the end of our third quart. You can see it start to run out of the fill hole. So that means we are all full. We're ready to reinstall our fill plug. I did wrap a little bit of Teflon tape around the threads. So we'll go ahead and reinstall that. All right guys, there we have it. Fresh differential fluid in our 2018 Raptor. If you enjoyed this content, please do subscribe.